All right. So next question, financial freedom versus retirement. Now we've touched on this briefly, but what's the difference?
So financial freedom is having the ability at any point in time to go, I can survive by myself.
Right.
I don't need a job. I don't need income from someone else giving it to me. I have the ability, the assets to go, if I want to stop working, I can.
Yeah.
Right? And retirement is more like, okay, I've got a set date that I need to stop working because I can't really work any longer.
Yeah. You're exhausted, you finish,
Exactly.
or your employer realized that you're 65 and you're not going to perform like this other kid at 25 years old with AI.
Financial freedom is the goal. You don't want to retire in the normal sense anymore. You want to have the ability and the savings to go, okay, when I want to turn the tap off, I can.
Yeah. And there's a colloquial term for that. It's called FU money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, you got enough to say, you know what, I don't need this crap anymore. I'm finished. I'm too old for this shit. I'm out. Right? That's pretty much what it is. Or I'm so young and rich right now. Yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want. We see a lot of these guys here in Dubai. I met quite a few of them, man. There was a big social media conference here, 1 billion subscribers. I don't know. Did you go to that?
Should have.
These are the guys. So you get to see all the superstars at the social media business. The guys making $5-10 million a year. Just people are walking around and like, oh, let's get some pictures, you know. So you do get those people.
But there's also something to learn from that, right? Is that they didn't magic this up.
No,
right?
they didn't.
A lot of these YouTubers were going for 7 years before they even got any success. Yeah. They stuck with the plan. They continued, and look where they are now.
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
Investing.
But people don't see the grind, you see. No. People don't see, like, even this channel. If you saw my first videos, you would go, oh my God, feel so embarrassed. it takes work, man, you know? So that's just it, man. But that is important to understand the difference between financial freedom and retirement, you know? So why is financial freedom more important than just saving for retirement?
Because the reason why financial freedom is, because you want to do it on your own terms, right? If you're saving towards retirement at 65 because that's when your allotted time is ultimately up and you haven't been able to save the amount that you want, you just have to deal with whatever you get at the end. If our plan is retire early or achieve financial freedom early, then you can do so on your own terms with the amount of money that you wanted to. I use a phrase a lot. It's called shoot for the stars, land on the moon, right? I will never, if I go to a client and say, what do you want when you hit financial freedom? What income? I will never take the first number that they give me. The reason why is because they normally shoot low, right? They want, 3,000. I'm saying, no, we're going to aim for 5,000 because if I aim for 5,000, we don't quite get there. Right. It'll be 4,000. Yeah. And you'll be a lot happier. But if I aim for 3,000 and we hit 1, you're going to be miserable. Yeah. It's the same with financial freedom. If I aim to give you financial freedom where you can go on your own terms with potentially higher and not rely on anything outside of it, then you'll do much better if we aim for 65 and potentially not do it.
Yeah. So let's get down to the meat and gravy now, because this is what most people want to know, Yeah. What are some of the alternative income streams that can help sustain or achieve financial independence?
So you've got property. There's obviously one, right? Investment property. This is investing in the right places with the right metrics. Just buying property is not enough to guarantee it. You need to make sure you do it in the right places with the right mentality behind it with the long-term vision, right? That's the step one. The other one is invest in things like dividend funds. They pay an income over time. Not only do they pay an income, they also actually increase in value. Okay, so you get the double whammy there. Right. And then also normal funds, you can draw down interest. But the key thing is here, is to get a passive income, you need to put your money into things that grow. Things sitting in your bank will, yes, you can get an income from your bank, but it's going to be depleting. Yeah. The way you want to work is that whatever growth that you get from your assets, you want to take out the growth and keep the original amount behind. Yeah.
I mean, you want to keep it in there while you're growing. In other words,
compound interest.
Compound interest, right? Why is I can't remember that word.
I always
you still want that compound interest going in there so that you can build the wealth, right? And build the asset to actually produce more when you actually need those funds later in life.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah. So, again, if we're looking at a 5, 10, 15-year plan, the idea is that for as long as we can, we don't touch this money. Let compound magic. Yeah, let compound interest. It is magic, right? Yeah. Einstein famously said it's the 5th, 7th, 8th wonder of the world. It's a fake quote, but it gets circulated a lot.
Right.
But it actually is one of the wonders because it affects things so much.
Yeah.
Like for example, the $60 to 200,000, right?
Yeah.
But you let your money accumulate over time to the point where you can live off the interest.
Cool.
That is the strategy.
So how much money does somebody really need to retire comfortably? Of course, it depends on your geographic location.
Yes.
And et cetera, et cetera.
So what we do is we work off like the 5% rule, which is if I can grow my money by 5% per year, what will that give me as an income? So if you have $1 million, 5% growth is 50,000. Right, so you need to work within those parameters of, okay, what income do I want and what amount of money will give me that at a certain growth rate. So to be honest, in nowadays, to live a good retirement or a good life when you want to start working, you're going to need minimum $1 million.
Minimum $1 million.
Which will turn a lot of people off.
Right, because it's a big number in their head.
It's a big number in people's heads, but actually, if you've got enough time and you do the right thing, it's very easy.
It's doable. Yeah, it's doable. But now, of course, we're talking to an audience that is quite, a little older. At this point, if a guy hasn't reached there, if someone hasn't reached there, what is sort of the bare minimum, or should he look at moving into an area that would not require such a large cost of living? Yeah.
So obviously, sometimes you have to have the really tough conversation of, look, if you just can't do it, right, because you left it too late, or you need to change your expectations in the future,
right?
So some of that will be you're going to have to move, right, because there's no way you can live on the money that you have in Dubai, right, for example. There are lots of countries which are very, very efficient where you can have a really good standard of living. Thailand is one of them, right? Amazing place to live, don't need a lot of money. So that also comes into consideration. Whenever we have a plan, it's like, okay, where am I potentially going to be in the future and what cost of living can I have there? Okay, and that needs to come into consideration.
A lot of guys have moved to Philippines, Thailand. Some friends have moved to Sri Lanka, Costa Rica. So places where they're getting a pension in American dollars or pound sterling or euros, but they're spending that conversion in cheaper countries. So
and the currency is working for them.
Yeah, exactly. That currency conversion. Exactly. All right. So how do we deal with market volatility? How should people adjust their investment strategies during uncertain economic times?
So this comes to a really important question, which is called time horizon, and risk profile. Okay, everyone's got a risk profile. Everyone's got a specific time horizon. Okay, now risk profile is I hate the word risk, first and foremost. I despise it, right? Because when everyone here hears risk, they think I can lose all my money.
Right.
That's the first thing that people think. No.
But it is a reality, though.
No, it's a reality depending on what you're investing in.
Right.
If you're investing in crypto, a lot of the time you can lose it. If you're investing in the MSCI world, which is just tracks the world markets, the world would need to blow up for that to become zero.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but that's classed as a high risk because it's something we call an equity, which is just a basket of stocks and shares. Okay. So when it comes to market volatility, first you've got to understand what are you invested in. Is it low risk, which is like government debt, corporate bonds, which their job is to pretty much get inflation.
Right.
That's all their job is, and they're very defensive on the way down. Okay, so you can invest in those prior to any drama to mitigate that fall. But do you want to? So this again comes to your time horizon. If I'm an old man and I'm trying to live off my income and I'm very risk averse because this is my money now and I'm not earning any more,
right,
I'm going to be risk averse and I'm going to be in bonds because I can't risk that money from falling.
Right.
But if I'm young and I've got a lot of time left in the market, I'm going to go very, very high risk. I'm not going to hold any bonds. And if the market falls, I'm going to put as much money as I can during when that's down.
Right.
Because I can benefit a lot from the market volatility. Because it's basically a sale, right? The way I always say it to clients, because it's so much easier to say it this way, is if you go to your local Carrefour, right, and you see Coke Zero is 3 for the price of 1,
right,
I'm going to buy up loads of Coke Zero because I'm getting a discount because that's not going to be around for ages.
Exactly, yeah.
The same with the markets. Markets fall, you go in because it'll come back up, as you said earlier, right? It comes back up.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get my money's worth while I can and buy more.
This is just solid, good, sound advice.
Thank you.
Well, I say that with this sense of but the point is, it's so many people just don't get it. It just drives me insane when I got to go back to the whole analogy or the way looking at it. It's like losing weight, right? It's a simple thing. Exercise, diet, done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we have so many excuses for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get very, very heated on this, Paul, and viewers, right? I'm going to get really passionate. I'm going to come in, with a mic like this. But I get really passionate about this because also, for me, personal finance is the most important subject you can ever learn. Yeah. Because unfortunately, our whole life is dictated by money. Yeah. Whether we can enjoy ourselves, whether we can pay the hospital bills, whatever it is. It's all about money.
Yeah, woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Or man, right?
Yeah, or man.
But
everybody keeps saying it's going to get better. How is it going to get better? Our economy is so fucked that I work a full-time job. I make $21 an hour working 40 hours a week. I have no extra expenses, no bills out of my living. I have one credit card that's maxed because I've lived off of it, but other than that, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 10 years. We have cell phones, but, that's required to live on. But other than that, nothing extra. On paper, my bills are $2,701. My income is $2,710. Do the math. $9 a month before I pay for food, gas, car repairs.
We're not taught about this. We're not educated this on any level during your school education. I did economics and finance at uni. I did not learn how to invest, how to budget, how to use my money. I only learned that on my job. The most important subject, which people should be learning from early days so we can have the right habits, so we can do the right things, we are not taught. Yeah. Frustrates me to no end because it's such an easy fix.
I teach my 15 and 18-year-old daughters, man. That's what I'm doing. Practically every day, I just annoy them because they're teenagers, right? Yeah. But I'm just hammering it home. Okay, Daddy, you told me that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell you again. Okay.
Until you do it automatically.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Exactly. So yeah, it is a big issue. It is a big issue. We're not taught how to manage money. We're literally told how to work, and that's it.
How to stay in the system and not exit it, basically.
Exactly. So what's the difference between making money and keeping wealth for future generations?
So people generally have two approaches to life. They want to spend all the money they earn by the time that they die, or they want to make sure that whoever's inheriting the money has a great life, whether it's their kids. Right. So you have to approach in two different ways. If you want to spend all your money, it's actually a little bit harder because we don't know when we're going to die.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we have to approach it a lot differently in terms of you can't really spend all your money because if you do and you're not dead yet, we have a problem, right?
Exactly.
Whereas generational wealth is, okay, we've got to approach it whereby, okay, you can live a really good life, but also pass money on, but also do it in the right way, which is be tax efficient, have wills in place, have beneficiaries placed on investments and on assets. Because what you don't want to happen is when you die, you don't want the courts to take 7 months, right, to divvy up the assets. Meanwhile, if your partner didn't have a joint bank account, right, and all your money was in your bank account, she doesn't have access to your money for 7 months. Exactly. How's she going to live?
Yeah.
So generational wealth is about protection. It's about having all your assets in the right places. It's about having life insurance. It's about having all of that sorted. Whereas the other side is, I don't really care. I'm just going to use my money how I want, and you don't really ultimately need that protection.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, generational wealth helped me. My father left me a house, fully paid for.
Yeah.
Freaking shitload of money now. And I would love to be able to pass that on to my daughters as well. So we have to understand that unless you can calculate that very point in life where you're going to die and you're spending your last dollar, pound, it's difficult. Because if you go too far ahead and spend more and you now have another 5 years of life staring you in the face and you're broke. 5 years of being totally broke is a hard pill to swallow, man.
It's crazy.
Ah.
But also, people don't have a plan for this.
No.
People hit retirement and they just think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to just do it as it comes.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most volatile, most important time of your life, right? You've got to understand things.
Yeah, but the worst part is most people just don't understand how expensive it gets as you get older.
Because you do your hobbies every day if you're retired, by the way. You know, you're not going to sit around watching Netflix every day.
But it's not only that. It's the illnesses, man. It's the prostate issue, the heart pills, the this pills. We need to take a massive amount of. Well, in the UK, it's not so bad because you got NHS, right? National Health Services for those American. But if you were in the U.S. and you had that degree of health problems, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah,
you're pretty much screwed. You can't afford it. So as you get older, it gets more expensive to maintain yourself, and that's what a lot of people overlook. It's something that we got to be very cognizant of, guys. Should parents gift wealth early or let inheritance play out later?
It depends a lot on where you're from, which is domicile, because certain countries will approach this in certain ways. Some countries will go, you're going to be taxed on your worldwide assets when you die, as per our thing, or they're going to go, you're not, right? It depends on where you're living. Right. Okay, so you do need to approach it in different ways. In the UK, for example, you do have a gifting, which is if you can, if I own a property and 7 years before I die, or, again, if I'm kind of young, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give this to my daughter. You can give a property as long as you don't die within 7 years. That passes tax-free, okay? So gifting is okay, but again, it's the whole thing of I don't know what's going to happen, right? I don't want to gift too early and then get in trouble because I'm still living in that house, even though I shouldn't be. Oh, really?
So if you give the gift to the house, the parent shouldn't be living in the house?
Not technically, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not the asset anymore. You kind of have to become a tenant, right?
Gotcha.
Because you're not actually gifting at that point, right?
So if the parents sign a lease.
Yeah. If they sign a tenant contract, right?
Yeah.
Potentially, right? I'm not a tax advisor, but.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so gifting, I would never rely on gifting. You need to rely on solid financial planning, whereby you understand the ins and outs, and where you don't have to rely on gifting to be able to pass on things efficiently, because there are lots of things available for people of all nationalities to ensure that everything goes where it needs to be, paying the most efficient tax possible while still in the confines of the law and not doing anything dodgy.
Right. Now, of course, one of the big issues that a lot of the older generation tend to suffer from, older and a little less sharp, conscious of what's going on around the world, we had to deal with scams. How do we deal with scams? Avoiding financial scams and pitfalls as we get older. What are the most common financial scams targeting people 40 plus right now?
If it's too good to be true, it normally is too good to be true.
Standard.
Right?
Yeah.
Stay away from crazy returns, right? And by that I mean pretty much anything over 10% as a guarantee is crazy, right? I mean, look, sometimes people pull it off, right? Again, we have ones like that, but it's guaranteed by Goldman Sachs as an example, right? Very, very large institutions. If it's from kind of a no-name, real background, right? You've seen an ad for it before, but you can't find anything past, 2022 on it, as an example, then it could be quite dodgy. Because to be able to provide that sort of return, you need to have a lot of experience and a lot of money, but behind you, right? The reason why Goldman Sachs can give a 9% guarantee or, 9% fixed income or fixed return is because they can make more money quite easily. Right. And we know they can, right, with the money that you invest, because that's the way they do it.
Right.
But if someone's promising you, 12%, they've got no real record, they're not, regulated by proper entities. So again, every company, every investment firm needs to be regulated. If they're over here, it's going to be by DIFC, ESCA, or the IA. If they're not, again, that's also cause for concern as well. You just need to do your proper research about it. Always get second opinions from other qualified institutions as well.
Right. Okay. How do we trust guys like you? How do we find a good financial advisor that we could trust? What are the signs that, this guy is somebody I shouldn't work with? I think that's the best way to put that.
Yeah, very, very good question.
As he fidgets.
No. So A good financial advisor will be focused on the plan, right? The way in which I talk to my clients is I always say, look, the actual investment element is only 10% of what I do at any one time. 90% is everything else. It's the structuring of the plan. It's looking after your family. It's making sure everything is tied up. So I'm going to be focused on looking after you, right? Developing the relationship and making sure what we're doing you're comfortable with, but it's all part of a plan. Never pushy, never trying to push the next great investment on you if it's not part of that overall plan as well. So when you're speaking with an advisor and you want to make sure you're choosing the right one, telltale signs are they've been introduced to you, right? Because if someone feels comfortable enough to introduce someone who's managing their finances, which is a very, very personal thing, right? Because a lot of time it's something for embarrassment, right? A lot of time you're embarrassed about your own finances. So if someone can introduce you, that's great. But also if they're very, very concentrated on the overall plan, helping you, then that's where you want to be. If the first conversation is, okay, I can invest your money, make you great growth and you'll be retired really easily, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I never talk about returns with my clients, or I try not to, because I'm not really interested in the returns.
Right.
I'm interested in, if we do this, this is the end goal and this is what you will achieve. Are you happy with that? Are you happy with what we've put in place? Are you happy with the idea? Are you happy with the plan and each event that we're doing? Are you comfortable that if anything happens to you, your kids will be looked after, your wife will be looked after, or vice versa, because we got the wills in place, because we got all these extra little things, which I don't make any money off, sorted out for you. Because at the end of the day, if anything happens to you, I have to deal with everything else. So that is, I think, the telltale signs of, hopefully, of trust, right? Yeah. Is that this person is actually looking out for me, not looking out for my money.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And listen, it's hard because we've been burnt slightly since we've been here in Dubai. And we were referred to a guy, right? But it was just the company that he was working for was the problem. He didn't even see that. There is a risk to every single thing that you do in life, my friends. But a good financial advisor, by all means, is somebody that you should have in your corner, just like you should have a good trainer, a good coach, a good mentor. And either those or all of those can mess up as well. You know what I mean? So I get where you're coming from.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult, but the risk to me is worth the reward. If you get a good financial advisor, I think
it's definitely a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And the message I'm trying to spread at the moment is that everyone should have a financial advisor. Like everyone does technically need a personal trainer. Everyone needs a doctor, right? Everyone needs a financial advisor. Now it's super important you get the right one, and it's very, very tough, as you said. Look, knowing who to trust there, but having the right one and taking that risk is literally, in a lot of cases, the difference between existing and actually having the life that you want and building towards that. Yeah. So do as much as you can on the education side, understand their company, by all means, shop around, right? Understand different types of people, the way they work. Go with what you're comfortable with, but also go with baby steps as well. Yeah. I think, and if someone is being really, really pushy with you and trying to take all your money, or trying to take the majority of it, not leaving you with much behind, trying to take a lot of your surplus, whatever it is, those are some telltale signs there. But it's very, very hard to say. Yeah. I think
boss, I think you've pretty much established that's it. There's nothing else you can really do besides, hey, I got referred to this person from someone that I trust. They seem to be doing well with the person. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say about that, really. So one more thing, and this is, I think, we'll finish with this. How can people enjoy their money now while still building for the future? Because this is always I should have asked this earlier in the conversation, but I think I want to finish with a little bit of a fun note where, we want to strike that balance. Is it possible? Because I think this is what a lot of people want to know. They still want to live, but they still want to save.
It is 100% possible.
Okay.
Right. It's what I tried to do, and I think I spoke a little bit earlier. We work too hard to not enjoy ourselves, right? So the real basics of this, and it's something which I've repeated throughout, Paul, is have the plan. The plan allows you to go and have fun. So if all I need from you is $1,000 a month, and that's going to achieve what we set out, any money besides that 1,000 go out and have fun with.
Yeah.
Right? Go enjoy. Because at least we know that your plan will be achieved. And that's the thing. So I had a podcast with a guy called Ashok, who's the head of Continental Group, a very, very large financial advisory out here. And he said something which, it sounds so basic, but it really struck a chord. And I've been in the game for a long time and I'd never really heard of it before, even used the phrase. But it's save first, then spend.
Oh,
as long as you save the fundamental, which is going to achieve your goal in the future, spend the rest.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Because at least you know in the back of your head, I'm going to have my income when I want. So I'm going to go buy this bag or go buy this watch or have fun, go on this holiday. Because I know that everything I'm doing right now in the back is going to achieve what I need.
Right.
That's where it comes down to.
Yeah. No, man. I think that's a good note to end this on, brother.
Yep.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. You'll be back. Well, it's always determined by the people, by the way. I always make my viewers determine whether my guests come back.
Nice. Please don't hate me.
I think you did well there, man. I think you did well.
It was an absolute pleasure to be on here.
Yeah. What's the name of your channel?
So it's the Financial Freedom Podcast.
Okay, cool. So it's just a podcast. Well, meaning it's a
yeah.
YouTube channel,
So I've got a YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay.
Trying to be down with all the younger folk. But yeah, it's just basically trying to educate, help people understand like the basics of personal financial planning and set them on the right path. So feel free to check it out, please.
All right. Good, man. Guys, listen, we're going to end it there, but always remember, the older man is always going to try to bring you different and, educational material to help you move to the next step in life. All right. So thank you so much, my good man, brother Max. Guys, listen, if you need any financial help, get in contact with Max. I'll provide a link in the description of this video so that you guys can go over to his channel. And you can find him on Instagram on... Repeat it again.
So on Instagram is the Financial Freedom PCast. Didn't quite get the podcast in.
Okay, that was taken.
Yeah, that was taken.
All right, go on.
But they've never posted anything.
All right.
And then on TikTok and on YouTube is the Financial Freedom Podcast.
So there's a lot of places they can find you. Go over there, guys. Ask him any questions. This man knows his stuff. All right? So until next time, remember, my friends, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man and a guy named Max. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Remember, whenever you're in doubt, always ask an older man, he'll show you the right ride.